Hi guys, I just want to have a chat with you all and address some rumours and speak my truth. The rumours being me getting a BBL and faking my gains to purposely mislead my followers. I've seen a couple of videos with very clickbaity titles that are making assumptions, being very selective on the details they speak on, and are just stretching the truth to get views. Whether they are doing this because they don't know the full story or are just trying to gain traction, I'm here to set the record straight. This is my story and I cannot let people speak on it for me. I haven't spoken on this for a very long time out of fear of criticism from random people on the internet, but I now understand it's a very important part of my journey. It was my rock bottom moment. It was a really defining time in my life. I also don't want my followers thinking I'm being deceitful or fake. Growing up, I absolutely loved anything sport and fitness related. It was my happy place, particularly during some really challenging times through my teenage years. I also really enjoyed working out and going to the gym. However, as I got older, I grew impatient with my results. I didn't really know what I was doing and I was constantly comparing my narrow figure to those that I saw online. So this is me growing up. I'm about 17, 18 years old in these photos. As you can see in these photos, I do have a bigger bum. Genetically, I do have a larger bum, and also throughout playing hockey for over 10 years. So I wasn't insecure about that. I was very insecure about how I looked sort of front on. I just had a very narrow figure. I didn't have that nice, waist to hip ratio. But yeah, especially during COVID, I just felt very uncomfortable. I didn't feel at home in my body. I didn't like the way it looked. So I wanted a quick fix. When I was 18, during COVID, I made a lot of money really quickly and decided to make a decision that was both impulsive and uneducated. I got a small amount of fat taken out of my torso and arms and placed into my hip dips to try and give me the illusion of a smaller waist and larger hips. And my incision marks show this. As you can see, 2 incision marks right on my hips. No fat was put in my glutes. Prior to the transfer, the doctor recommended that I just stop exercising completely so I would even have enough fat in the first place to transfer into my hips. I naturally have a very fast metabolism, so I don't store much fat. I know I used the word BBL previously, but a BBL is essentially a fat transfer. Everyone's desires and goals for this transfer are different and every body responds differently. You often hear BBL and think the extremes like Kim Kardashian's. Same with boob jobs. I know, for example, if I hear boob job, I imagine, massive boobs, a really dramatic change, which is not always the case. I want to show you this video where a lady explains what a skinny BBL is and why they do not work.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you're born with a certain number of fat cells in your body, period, point blank. You never reproduce them unless it's during infancy or puberty, right? So if you're considering a BBL, especially if you're on the skinnier side, do not think that by gaining weight, you're going to actually produce more fat cells. All you're doing is blowing up the fat cells you have. So what happens is you blow those fat cells up. They're not in their shrunken state. They're in the blown up state. And then you're putting them into your butt. But a couple months after your BBL, once you go back to your normal weight or you're not eating like a little piglet, you're going to lose that fat because your fat cells are going to shrink. So don't think of gaining weight as you're gaining more fat cells. You don't gain and lose those. All that happens when you gain and lose weight is the fat cells that you already have shrink or expand. That's all that happens. So if you're considering a skinny BBL and the doctor or you think, hey, I can gain weight beforehand and make more fat, that's not how it works, guys, okay? Consider that before you put yourself through the pain of the surgery, the anesthesia, and the money, because it's going to be a complete waste of time and money if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to gain all this weight and get big and keep all that fat in my butt. No, you're not. The fat cells are just expanding at this point because you're getting bigger. But then when you go back to your regular standard weight, they're going to shrink and you're going to be left with flat bootyitis again, okay? So yeah, sorry guys, but that's the bad news about being skinny and trying to have curves.
Given I had stopped exercising prior and post the procedure, I lost a lot of muscle mass during this time. During the recovery period, the small amount of fat that was transferred either shrunk back to its original size or just simply did not survive the ordeal. So I ended up going from 65 kilos down to 61 kilos during that recovery period. I was left feeling devastated and even more uncomfortable with the way I looked. I thought this was going to be a quick fix to solve all my insecurities, and it left me with an even more strained relationship on myself and the smallest I had been in years. I felt very lost in this time, and I found myself facing two very different alternatives. I could continue down this path of cosmetic procedures, or I could go back to where I last found happiness and fully commit myself to the gym and try and find confidence there. I chose to go back to my old happy place, to build a body where I would feel confident in. I committed myself to understanding how bodies work, how they react to weight training and nutrition to support this muscle gain. The gym completely changed my life. It gave me stability that I was lacking, and it gave me a purpose and drive to reach my goals. I fell in love with the process and just the way that it would completely clear my mind. I not only enjoyed training myself, but I also found a passion in helping my friends on their own fitness journeys. I really found myself during this process. I ended up studying and getting qualified in personal training and fitness with the hopes that one day I could help others reach their goals and teach them how to love themselves and build those healthy habits. I've been going to the gym now since that procedure for well over 2 years. But in the last year, I've really educated myself and leveled up my training. And you can see here just how much my body has changed in that 1 year. I'm also going to play a video which shows you month by month a 12 months transformation. And just to put it into perspective in terms of weight, I was 61 kilos when I started going back to the gym. I was about 64 kilos this time last year, and now I'm 74 kilos, which is 24 pounds for all you US people. And I think that's where a lot of the misinformation comes. I think a lot of people actually think that I got something done in the last year, which is just not the case. I also want to make this super clear. The procedure I had nearly 3 years ago has had no lasting impact or influence in my progression at the gym. The small amount of fat that was transferred was put into my hip dips, and we all know that you cannot eliminate hip dips or grow rounder hips by working out. And as you can see, if I stand naturally, I still have those narrow hips. I still have hip dips. About a year ago, I deleted any video that I had made about this experience. I would also like to touch on that I made a few videos about it. None of them were positive. They were all me explaining how it did not work. However, I deleted them because I felt like they were no longer an accurate representation of who I am and did not align with the person I was heading towards. They were posted out of anger and frustration for the way I looked, and they were honestly a bit of a tough reminder because I posted them when I was not in a very good place mentally. And I just wanted to close that really negative chapter in my life and move on to better things. However, I understand that with a growing audience, it's important to speak up. Not speaking on it and allowing people to run with their own narratives on my experience has created confusion and has been harmful. So this is where the story turns a little bit more positive. So now I am so passionate about helping women and girls who are in a similar mindset to the one I was in a few years ago, bypass all the BS and the quick fixes that they see on social media and take control of their health, take control of their mindset and actually get results. At the end of the day, my journey has not been linear. Like everybody else, I've faced my own ups and downs, faced my own challenges, and my personal challenges and triumphs have all brought me to where I am today. I am so proud that I was able to turn my life back around. I have worked so hard to change my mindset and get myself to where I am today. And now I want to take my own personal lessons and my own personal triumphs and use them for good. And lastly, I just want to thank you guys for sticking by me, always showing me support and sharing love. I appreciate it more than you guys will ever know, and yeah, I just hope this video clears up a lot of misinformation about me.
Just listening to a podcast about some dude, I don't remember his name, but he wrote a book called The Power of Regret.
Okay.
And there's been this trend, there's always trends in people's responses to common questions. Like, what keeps you motivated? People are like, motivation's bullshit. All that stuff. This one is something where I feel like everyone's always like, I have no regrets. I wouldn't have learned without them. But he kind of explains the psychology of the power of regret and the fact that it's actually good to have regrets. It's just how you use it. You don't want to live in it and let it hinder you, but
Sure.
Obviously being aware that there's stuff that you wish you had done better and being taking notice of it. And he explained how the stuff that you regret the most usually represents values in your life.